Good morning. Okay, yet another drive, this time on a Saturday. Got a couple things to do today. Didn't quite finished up yesterday, and I just want them done so I don't have to worry my little head about what might, be undone or incomplete. I just want to be able to say, yep, it's all done. I checked and signed off every single little thing. So, you get an extra treat you get me on a Saturday. So, I had some thoughts this morning. As a putatively incoming junior steward of my lodge, which is like, I don't want to say it's like the lowest rank, because it doesn't work quite like that per se, but effectively, junior steward is like, it is the easiest officer job. Because there's not even a speaking part. You stand up. There's like two situations where you actually have to do something. and then that's it. There's nothing else. And there are no speaking parts at any time for any of it. So it's super, 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 super easy. Effectively no actual responsibilities. So it's great for me because it gives me, the next year or two to sort of just clear a little bit more room on my plate before I start, going further along that officer line, through junior deacon and then, eventually to a warden and potentially even all the way to the east. Who knows? And those are, as you go up further, it's a leadership. It becomes more of a leadership role, and also just more active. The worshipful of my lodge just sent out a couple emails. One was coordinating the installation. I still need to double check all the dates for installation and all the other things that are on the calendar, but the installation looks fine. And then the calendar, he sent out the calendar for the year. I'm like, ooh, there's a lot of stuff on here. That's pretty cool. And I just need to double check all those dates really quick. But I thought it kind of got me thinking. So I know that there's something I want to bring to the lodge, which is doing a blood drive, like 1 or 2 blood drives a year. I think two is good. Just take a couple Saturdays and, just be able to essentially like have the lodge from like, 10 to 3 or, whatever. I don't know yet exactly what that'll look like. I'll need to work it out with the secretary of the building association, which conveniently enough is the secretary of my lodge. Also coordinate with the other lodge that meets in our building, and then probably DMLA, and just say, hey, we're going to run a couple blood drives. Tell your family, tell your friends, anybody can come. They do not need to be associated with the lodge. They do have to make an appointment. And you get with Vitalent and kind of find out what are your requirements of us, other than having access to restrooms, electricity, and like heat and shelter, and what else would you need? And I think that's it, to be perfectly honest, but I'll confirm with them. I floated the idea with one brother, the soon-to-be junior warden, who didn't, say like, oh, that's a horrible idea, or anything like that. So, I think that's good. We were talking about a lot of things. I wasn't specifically saying like, hey, what do you think of this idea? Sort of, hey, there's some things I think I want to bring to the lodge, Being familiar with leadership and comfortable with it. Not an expert by any means, but being familiar with it. I'm in that position, and I have been for some time. So, in different ways, even scouts, with HOA board, at work. I'm pretty comfortable with that. So I kind of come in with these ideas, and it got me thinking this morning as I was thinking about that calendar, and I was thinking about, hey, I need to coordinate soon with like Vitalent, and then I need to coordinate with the lodge. Like once I get from Vitalent the requirements, go back to the lodge and go to the officers and go, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. You guys see any objection? Cool? No? Okay, cool. So then, kind of get with Vitalent also, and you could be like, hey, what months would work really well? Days of the week, things like that. And I generally would prefer Saturdays, and I'm sure they would. Like, the problem is, I'm sure everyone does. And so maybe Saturdays won't be such a good thing, but if we do it during the workday, I'm not sure how many people will be able to show up. At least from people who are associated with the lodge building in one way or another. But kind of once you get everybody's sort of nod of assent, what are you doing? Okay? It's like there wasn't a clear and obvious, like, when you're driving, look ahead of you. Look ahead. It's very easy. In fact, you're supposed to be doing it anyways. Look ahead of you. Oh, look, that lane goes to the left. I don't want to go to the left. Well, then get over now. Not past the solid line separating you out. For goodness' sake. And I only say it that way because I am trying to make sure I don't cuss. Anyways, but it got me thinking. Like, we have these activities, a few of which are open to, you know, either members of the public or at least people who are some way associated with, if not our lodge association, then maybe just masonry in general, you know, or any connected or appendant or related bodies. Oh my, wow. It is the Friday right before Christmas. I wish I could flip the camera around on iPhone like I could Android while doing a video, because I'd show you guys how empty it is at 8:18 a.m. Oh my God. Like, normally, I don't get to get over as soon as 225, or Parker gets onto 225. I've got to wait for crazy traffic. And while there is some traffic, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm waiting for this car to pass me so that I can, and the car that was behind me to pass me as well, to get over into a soon-to-be left-turning lane. This is easy. This is easy to get over. The only way it would be easier is on Monday, when it is actually Christmas and no one's going to work. Including, hopefully, me. I don't really do Christmas per se, but I enjoy the, I mean, my shirt even shows it. Proud member of the naughty list. I mean, I enjoy a day off. I enjoy getting presents. We go over to the in-laws and open presents. Although, honestly, even our kids are now old enough, they don't get a lot of presents. They get higher quality and higher dollar value presents. Not a lot of presents. But nonetheless, I mean, this is crazy. This is a joy to drive to work again, which sounds weird to say. I mean, I enjoy work. I enjoy driving. I don't necessarily enjoy driving to work. It's often very frustrating. Anyways, but it got me thinking, like, as a lodge, we're starting to get more active. We're starting to do more things as we kind of recover from COVID and all the shutdowns. And then, okay, cool, how do we want to get this restarted? How do we want to get that restarted? We're reaching out to the school districts. Hey, we used to do a thing with you. You know, would you guys be interested in doing that again? Yeah, actually, they both said yes, we'd love to do that. Great, let's start doing that, you know? I think that's awesome. It gets us more into the community, it gets us better visibility, so people who might be interested in masonry are aware that we're here. They can talk to us. They can potentially join. As long as they're good candidates, they become, you know, great brothers and members and all that. And I think that's awesome. But I also think, let's get into the community, not just from a perspective of benefiting ourselves and each other within the lodge, but also the community itself. And that's where I'm like, the blood drive sounds really great. But obviously it's not just on my lodge. Churches, synagogues, mosques, other sort of community associations all need to kind of start stepping up again. And I think I see some of it. You know, over the last couple of years, I've been seeing some where, yeah, you're starting to see some people start to do things again. You know, start to return to more of a pre-COVID concept of, hey, let's start hosting events again. Let's start getting together again. Although at the same time, I know that, for example, right now there's something going around. It's at least one, if not two things. Because there's one thing that seems respiratory, and there's another thing that seems digestion or intestinal. But nonetheless, I mean, even with that, because it's winter, honestly, something's always going around in the winter. It's just kind of the way it is. I love to see that, my lodge is starting to, re-engage and restart things. And I think this is an opportunity for all community organizations. And I say churches because you just see churches, there's so many churches out there and church buildings, and they have these signs where they can start to say, like, hey, this is what's going on. I see that on very few shuls or synagogues. You just don't see it. I'm a member over here at Temple Sinai. We don't really have that. And in fact, because the way the building's designed, the back of the building is to the street. So even putting one out there would be a little weird, but could be done. But churches have that ability to sort of really get that message out to a lot of people. And they often do have signs, where they're announcing what's going on, where they've got some, cute quote or whatever. And so there's I think a lot of potential there because also a lot of schools simply will not allow third-party entities use of the building, especially on weekends, because you'd have to hire. They require that you hire security and all this other stuff. And to be honest, I think the era of community orgs using schools is basically over. I think COVID sort of made it so the schools really don't want to have to deal with it, and that's fine. You got churches, you've got synagogues. I got to imagine that mosques would sort of operate in sort of a similar fashion as the other two, where they'd be more open to the public using their building. Also, obviously, Masonic Lodge buildings, Elk Lodges, things of that nature, could host things like blood drives or Christmas toy drives or Easter egg hunts or picnics, other things that really help bring community, that bind that community together. COVID really did a number on unraveling some of the social fabric that keeps at least our culture kind of operational, if you will. I imagine that a lot of other cultures, I think it's a human thing. I'm just more familiar with American and, more specifically mountain culture, like the mountain time zone type area. I imagine it's much the same in New York City, just because of the density. It sort of is different, kind of. I will go to the other side. I'll park around the other side of the building. I forgot my normal parking spot is taken up right now. I can't park where I normally would. Anyways, those are my thoughts this morning. I am hopeful that that more like community groups start to really kind of come back, so to speak, and get active, get people reconnected, and then if we do end up having problems with more respiratory illnesses, or something like another COVID, or something like that kind of starts to come back around, that maybe we ask ourselves, like, hey, what can we do next time to help keep some of this social connectivity? Oh, I'm a little too far over. Pulled it over a little too far. Could not have parked the car at that angle. It's not a Jeep after all. But keep that connectivity, keep that bond, that glue that kind of keeps us all connected. I'm an introvert. I'd much rather go driving up in the mountains, windows down, by myself, blare some music, than go to a party with people. Like, no, I'm definitely an introvert. But even I recognize there's social connectivity that you need as a human. You just need to be able to kind of control it, opt out of some of it, but you still need some. And I think everybody got a dose of, like, nope, you don't get to talk to people, you don't get to see people. In some places it was you don't get to leave your house. Grocery delivery is free, and you need to use that. You need to work from home. Like, that was a thing for a while. if that were to become a thing again, what can we do to make sure we can stay connected and do it better this time? Last time was very haphazard. And obviously there's some things, where you need a certain amount of security, or you need a certain amount of, confidentiality is not quite the right word. I guess security really is kind of the best word here, but, how can we, authenticity too. Like, how do you know it's really that person on the other end of the line? Some companies really like you to use your camera and all that. Other places is like, no, that's a horrible idea, I'm not a big fan of being forced to turn on my camera. And I'm more than happy to turn on my camera, confirm it's really me, and then turn my camera back off. That I'd be okay with. I don't like having my camera on all the time. What's funny is I actually usually use my camera at work most of the time because I'm at work. If I was working from home though, nah. I don't need you to see the giant, book, list I gotta read, or book pile I gotta read, or my just sort of junk bin that I kind of just toss things into until I figure out where it's really supposed to go, or anything like that. So, anyways, I'm gonna get going. Real thought here was, how can community organizations kind of get re-engaged? Where can they get re-engaged? And kind of what's getting in the way of preventing more of these sort of community things? If you're not a member of a synagogue or church or whatever, how do you know what's going on? How do you know the opportunities that are there? And I guess to me, that's sort of the marketing executive brain that I've got, that I'm like, I kind of wish we could get the word out, but at the same time, we get the word out, it might get out too far, and so how do we handle that? Definitely something I'm going to be thinking about more. You guys have a great day.